Hey, happy Mother's Day, everyone. By the time you watch this video, it's not going to be Mother's Day anymore, but today is. So happy Mom's Day to all the people that qualify under the category. Hope you guys have a great day. It's a beautiful day. Thought I'd get a ride in. So today I wanted to talk about my top 10 reasons why I like this Honda ADV 150. For anyone that's new to my channel, again, my name is Scott, and I am riding an ADV 150, which is a little 150cc automatic, what they consider an adventure bike, if you're new to my channel. And see, it's cool because you can go around people like that park, you know, 10 feet away from the line. One of the questions that I get a lot is, what type of fuel economy do I have in this thing? And I tell you, I don't really care. I don't measure it. You know why? Because I get about 100 miles a gallon. I would say if I had to actually measure it, I would say high 90s at least. But I don't really care. This thing gets, you know, on average, you can look all that up, but I think this bike gets about anywhere from high 90s to 100 miles a gallon. 100 miles a gallon. But today I do need to get fuel. You know why? Because I'm getting low on petrol. So we're gonna get some fuel. Hopefully I brought my wallet. Yes. So there we go, 1.7 gallons. Let's see what happens on my... Yeah, that basically filled it up all the way. You cannot beat that. So, fuel economy is probably, I would say, one of the best reasons you would buy a small motorbike like this. 150cc, 100 miles per gallon. You cannot beat that, folks. Can't beat it. Another one I wanted to talk about was maneuverability. You know, you guys that have those really heavy bikes, I've had them in, not really heavy in my past, but you know, you guys that ride the big Gold Wings and the Harleys, yeah, you know that maneuverability, it can still be done on a heavy bike like that. Don't get me wrong, but it's not as easy, especially for someone who might be getting a little older, or someone who doesn't want to have all the bulk and the complication of a heavy bike. So I talk about maneuverability all the time on this thing because it is just so light and nimble. I'm purposely just going around and, you know, weaving because it's so much fun. It's like, and you don't ever feel like you're gonna like lose it or anything. Like, these are pretty tight turns going around these little boxes, right? And it's like, try to do that on a big giant 800-900 pound bike. Yeah, that's not going to be a lot of fun, so to me anyway. But everything has its use, but I like the maneuverability of this because it is so easy and light. I think what I said before, around 300 pounds is the heaviest this thing gets. So it is very, very light. Easy maneuverability and parking. I can park this thing anywhere. I can park it on a sidewalk. I can park it anywhere. I mean, I've seen other channels that will ride these things and park them like right up on the curb, you know. People don't really care. If you go to a grocery store, you can park right on the sidewalk. Nobody's gonna really say anything about it. You know, the only thing about a light bike like this is theft, right? That's maybe the only negative that I can find about this bike. Being so lightweight, 300 pounds, you get two pretty beefy guys, you can lift this right into a van or a pickup truck. So I recommend, if you are going to park this somewhere, get a GPS on it, some type of alarm, or chain it up, lanyard it up to something, then you'll be fine. Most people don't drive around with really heavy bolt cutters and stuff. They're just looking for a quick opportunity. So if you have it locked up, I'm sure you'll be fine, but you never know. Anyway, something to pay attention to. Fuel efficiency, you saw I put 1.7 gallons in this tank, and it completely filled it up all the way. So 100 miles a gallon, heck, can't beat it at all. Also, I like the ability for storage. Not every bike has this, right? You can't, it's got the nice storage. It's pretty deep. This is my tire repair kit stuff. But yeah, you can put a lot in here. This will actually, my helmet will fit in here, believe it or not, but I never used it because, I don't know, I got all this other crap in here, but it technically would fit my helmet in here. So you got that as storage, and you got this nice compartment here where I can put keys, I can put my wallet, other stuff. It has a 12 volt, like cigarette 12 volt outlet right there for power. But this thing I ran to my fuse box. I showed that in another video. So the storage is nice, and some of you have the rack that you can put on the back here with the box, and I'll get one of those one day, but right now I don't really go enough, you know, far places where I need one right now. Yeah, so for storage and practicality, you got it. I mean, can't beat one of these. And you can't forget about styling. So when I first saw this bike, you know, I share the story a lot. I was looking for a Honda PCX 150, and I couldn't find them. They just couldn't keep them in stock. This was back in 2021. And then I saw this ADV 150, and I'm like, sweet. First time I saw one in person, I'm like, yep, that is pretty slick. It don't really look like a traditional scooter. You know, when you look at this, especially from the front, you don't even know it's a scooter, really. It kind of sits higher, so it's not one of those step through like a Vespa, but it doesn't take me much. I still swing the leg over the back to get on here. Some of you may not be able to do that. So if you can't, yeah, you can always step, and you're not really too far off the ground with that leg, you know. Another thing I wanted to mention, probably my top 10, would be affordability. Now listen, you don't have to spend $5 grand on something like this. I did because I chose to. I wanted something brand new. But if you look now on the used market, you can find one of these for thousands less right now. I'm seeing them go for as little as, you know, $2,500 that are still low mileage. So do yourself a favor, you know, and they're so reliable that you don't really need to worry about these too much. They're very low maintenance. The only thing that I do with this thing is I change the oil, and you can see some of my videos on that. Change the oil. Trying to think what else. There's really not a lot you have to do to these. But here's the oil dipstick right here, if you're wondering. Let's see. I mean, it's black, so it's hard. It's black. It's hard to tell. But I just did this, I think, last year, so I like to change the oil maybe once every year or every other year, since I don't put a lot of mileage on it. So yeah, just make sure you got air in the tires. Check your levels on your tire pressure. Change the oil about once every year, depending on how many miles you ride. And yeah, you don't have to do a whole lot, but I do have maintenance videos on this if you're interested. So the best thing about this is starting this up. you turn the key or the switch here, make sure it's in the run, push the button, and you're good to go. So these are pretty good, affordable transportation. There's not a lot of money up front into these if you want to get out there on two wheels. And you just, yeah, I mean, even on the used market, you could find something like this or something similar and get out there. And for commuting and affordability, you can't go wrong. I don't commute on this bike because I have to, my schedule's changed, so I don't commute a lot on this. But I could if I really wanted to. I could commute on this, no problem at all. It's just something I choose to drive based on other things in my life where I don't really want to commute on this right now. Maybe in the future. But I've done it. I have a video about my work commute. And it only took me about, I would say 40 minutes to get there, 35, 40 minutes to get there. So it wasn't too terribly bad. But yeah, another thing is the fun and freedom, I call it. Fun and freedom of a bike like this or any bike on two wheels, okay? Whee! And I like to just go back in these parking lots sometimes where there's not any traffic and practice the fun and freedom of the maneuverability. You got to watch all the rocks and stuff back here, but we'll get out on the main road here and discuss a little bit more. But yeah, the fun and freedom of two wheels. If you haven't ever tried it, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But if you've ridden a bicycle, it's pretty much that times 10 because you don't have to exert it. You don't have to pedal. It's great. You just twist the throttle and you go. I mean, doesn't get much more fun than that, honestly. So yeah, getting back to the maintenance, I mean, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that. It has very low maintenance costs. If you got to throw an oil change into this every year, every other year, I mean, you're out like 10 bucks. It's not bad at all. So between putting the fuel in this thing, which is very, very inexpensive, and the low maintenance costs of everything else, you can have a lot of fun out here on something like this. And these bikes are environmentally friendlier, I call it. They don't give off really too much emissions at all. And they're just very good for the, they're not great for the environment, but better than most vehicles, I should say. You know, these big old trucks that spew this black smoke, yeah, these don't do that. Another one I would say would be like the community and culture of somebody that has a scooter like this or a small motorbike. It's just something that people that have bikes like this can relate to. I mean, there's scooter clubs out there. I don't really belong to any of those, but I've seen them out there. I don't really have time to belong to one of those things, but so they're out there. So there is a lot of like culture with scooters, especially the old style ones, like your traditional, your vintage scooters like the Vespas and stuff like that. But yeah, if you're considering riding this year, my channel kind of grows and grows. It's amazing that people even watch this stuff, so I do appreciate it. But if you like I get a lot of comments where people are getting my age or older, and they're done with the heaviness of the bigger bikes and they're switching over to these little automatics or these scooters, whatever you want to call them, automatic motorbikes. So anyway, guys, I hope I covered everything. I think I listed my top 10 if I remember correctly. Fuel efficiency, easy maintenance and parking, of course, very low maintenance cost compared to other types of vehicles. Of course, the fun and the freedom of riding on 2 wheels, and very affordable transportation if you do your homework. Again, you don't need to buy any motorbike brand new. There's plenty of availability out there on the used market. And they are great for commuting if you want to do such a thing. But every time I get out here, guys, I like to just do this kind of stuff. It keeps me, since I don't ride like every day on this thing, when I go into these parking lots and I do the maneuverability stuff, I share this many times, it just keeps me fresh, the muscle memory fresh with handling this thing, and it's just so effortless. Well, again, thanks guys if you're new to the channel. Again, my name's Scott, Cincinnati, Ohio, and I get comments from time to time of people that live in the area, and they say, oh, I live right down there in this, and I live right down there. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it is a small world when you think about it. But I'm representing the Cincinnati Reds, of course. They got a fun team to watch. I don't know if any of you are baseball fans, but I like watching the Reds. Of course, we all know who Ellie De La Cruz is and guys like that nature and stuff, but they are a lot of fun. The team is to watch. Just got to get that pitching down. They're close. They're very close, but the pitching so far has been a little better than last year. Can't knock them too badly, but still needs some work. I'm learning in baseball, if you're a 500 team, that's pretty average. Pretty good, right? 500 average. But if you're above 500 in Major League Baseball, then you're a really good team. So the Reds are hovering right around 500 so far all year long. So they're close. They just got to step it up a little bit. And see, the Reds will be this team where they'll win like 5, 6, 7 games in a row, and then they'll tank 5, 6, 7 games in a row. It's just so maddening how that works. But I guess that's the nature of baseball. What can I say? Baseball is a frustrating sport to watch if you worry about the wins and losses, because you're never going to be happy. There's only like 1 or 2 teams that consistently win all the time, and those teams are the big market teams, so it's all about money still, really. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you do have a bike like this, let me know in the comments. But thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, giving my channel a chance. Yep, and we're gonna have a lot more videos this summer. But until next time, you guys have fun. Hope you have a good Mother's Day, whoever you are, and we'll see you on the next one.